I'm Tammy at All About Living, and today we're going to make a soup. Weather's turning cooler. The best, absolute best way to save money is to make soups and stews because they feed a lot of people for a little money. And as an added bonus to go with our soup, I'm going to make us some homemade croutons. Okay, I call this freezer and fridge clean out, okay? Because I have a small pork roast here that I put up in January and somehow it got shoved to the back of the freezer. It's got to go. So that's the meat. And then I got some potatoes and I got some carrots and I got some onions. And I finally am going to get to use my celery soup mix because that is going to make an awesome, awesome base. And just for a little color, we're going to put some green beans in there. All right, and on my shelf, I have some ditalini that's from December of 21, y'all. It's got to go, so it's going in the soup. And then you just need some spices. You need some salt, some pepper, some bay leaves, some oregano, and some garlic powder, and we're going to call it good. But that's really how you should do your meal plans. You should walk around in your pantry and go through your freezer and your fridge and just start pulling stuff that you need to use. Almost 9 times out of 10, you can make the best, your own soup or stew with whatever you found that you need to use. And then you don't lose it. You're saving money. You didn't have to go to the grocery store. It's a win-win-win. Okay, we're going to start by cutting up that pork, and I'm going to cut it really small. Okay. And I'm not going to take any of the fat off, because to me, that's where all the flavor is. And I like pork fat, so. If you don't like it, I guess you could take the time to take it out. You see how much, after you cut that up, how much meat and how many people that will feed, and that probably wasn't 3/4 of a pound of a pork roast. Now you know what's coming next. We got to get that pot hot. I'm going to shoot for a medium flame, just like that. We're going to get that pot hot. Pot's hot. Let's get a little olive oil in there. Maybe 3-4 tablespoons. Let that heat up, and then we're going to add that pork. Okay. Hear that sizzle? That's what you're looking for. Get that moved around. We don't want any sticking. We're just going to get all those little pieces brown. It'll take you a few minutes. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. And all of my pork is losing that pink color. So now it's time to start adding our ingredients. Okay, I got a couple of small onions that I also need to use. because they're starting to look kind of not healthy. So we're going to go ahead and use them. And don't throw that away. Stick it in a bag in the freezer. In fact, I'll show you right now what I do with that. I have a bag that I keep with anything that I didn't use. And I'll just dump that right in there. Now, I'm not going to keep this. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll keep that part. But this part, nah. But I'm going to do that. Same thing with this one. Because like this one, it's got like brown, you know, nah. I'm not going to keep that. But that, all that can go in that bag. And this skin and that top layer of onion that you're always throwing in the trash. Okay, and then you just stick that back in the freezer. When you get a couple of bags, you're good to go. You can make veggie broth, add it into your beef or chicken broth, whatever you want to do. You already got it, you paid for it, use it. Okay, and this is a soup. So I'm just going to make that nice and good and chunky. That way it won't cook all down to pieces. There we go. Just like that. And in the pot it goes. Go. Give it a little stir. Next item up, some carrots. Same thing, I'm going to cut them chunky because I don't want them to get too soft. In they go. Potatoes, gonna do them right over the pot. Last one. This is one of those funny-sided potatoes that had a little lip on the outside. Now, there we go. Give that a good stir. Back to there. Already looks good. Now, we are going to add, all right, my celery soup. And it's sealed. Not going to pop that. Let's see if I can do it like this. Yeah, there we go. I have a link here or there or somewhere where I made this earlier when celery was in season. Y'all, so good. In it goes. And it actually already, it had some potatoes in it. It was celery and potatoes and chicken broth. Y'all, so good. And I'm sorry, I'm telling you, everything is so good, but I'm hungry and it is looking right. Okay, now we're going to start with some seasoning. Okay, and we're going to salt. Salt's all relative, so whatever you think you need. I like a lot, and then I'll probably, when I check it, I may add more. Got some pepper. I'm probably putting a good teaspoon of pepper because it's 2 good pinches. So, probably a teaspoon of pepper. My bay leaves are small, so I'm probably going to put 3. Then drop some garlic powder in here. Nice, good helping. Some oregano. Probably a whole teaspoon of oregano. Gonna give that a good stir, and then I'm gonna see how much liquid I need. I'm gonna start with 2 cups. And that's gonna do it. 2 cups right now is gonna do it. Now I probably will, before I add that ditalini toward the end, I probably will have to add a little more water because it's going to, the ditalini is going to absorb that water. We're going to get a lid on it. We're going to bring it up to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we'll take it down to a simmer and go from there. Okay, it took me about 15 minutes to bring it up to a boil, and then it took me 30 minutes to get my potatoes fork tender and my meat fork tender. So now we're going to add that ditalini, which is, I might have to have my cameraman. Ah, got it. Okay. And we're going to drop that ditalini. And we're going to put those green beans in now. And we're going to put the green beans in, juice and all, because I'm going to need it for that ditalini. So we're going to get it all in there. Going to give that a really good stir. Put that lid back on. Give it about 15 minutes to cook that ditalini. And the reason I didn't put those green beans in until I put that ditalini is they're already cooked. If I'd have put them in the beginning, by the time the dish was done, they would be mush. So we put those in at the end, just let them get good and hot. That's really all you need for them green beans. It's gonna make some croutons. It's coming up on soup season, and they want $2 a bag for good croutons, and I can make a pile for $1. So that's what we're gonna do. First thing, we got to get that pan warm. So medium flame. Go the other way, Tammy. There you go. Medium flame. We're just gonna let that pan get hot. Okay, to make my croutons, I just make these little squares out of whatever kind of bread I have. So I have these Kaiser rolls, and they're getting kind of hard. So that's what's going to make my croutons, whatever you have. And we're just going to, just like these, I'm just going to cut them in little squares. Oh, I did cut it in half. I cut it in half. And then we're just going to make little squares. And I went ahead and cut a couple so you didn't have to watch me do it. 2's a plenty. Good. Okay, and this bread works with the stalest bread you have. You know, the end pieces out of a loaf bread makes the best croutons because they're really thin and they'll crisp up faster. That's really the best, but I didn't have that. I had these casseroles, and they're going to work just fine, and they are tasty. Okay, I'm going to lightly oil the bottom of this pan, and then I'm going to put maybe a tablespoon of butter in there. And the reason I do that is because I want them to have that butter flavor, but sometimes butter has a tendency to burn unless you use a little olive oil in there. So we're going to do that, and I'm only going to put about half of that in this pan because that's all I'm going to be able to do at a time. If you have an oven, absolutely lay them out on a flat pan and put olive oil and butter on the bottom, and then olive oil and butter on the top, and whatever seasoning that you like. Okay, for me, for what I'm doing right now, I'm just going to add a little salt, a little pepper, and a lot of garlic. I'm going to add a little more olive oil to the top. And then we're just going to keep moving them around till they're brown all over. Okay, after they've been sitting a few minutes, let's give them a good stir. And it doesn't really matter which side hits the pan, because you're going to keep rolling and rotating until they're brown all over. Okay, if you decide to do this in the oven, it's like anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes, depending on how crunchy you like your croutons, at like 350, 375. You know, just somewhere in that range, and then just keep moving them around on that tray, same as I'm going to do on top of the stove. Okay? And you just want to keep moving them. You don't want any of them to burn. They'll have that burnt taste if you do. Just keep moving them around, and they'll eventually brown. See how pretty that is on those sides? Just keep doing that till they all look like that. Okay, see, they're all nice and brown now. They're as brown as I like. I don't want them real hard. So these are perfect. I'm going to get these in a bowl and get my next batch in. Okay, my second batch is ready, and I'm going to go ahead and pour them right on in my bowl. Maybe. Two-second rule applies. My stove is clean. There we go. Nice and done. And y'all just remember, do not throw that bread away. Look at that. Perfectly good croutons. And if you put them in a jar, a resealable jar, a mason jar, or an old peanut butter jar, they'll last up to a week. Okay, my 15 minutes is up for that pasta. So my soup is done, because that was the only thing left that wouldn't be done. And we're just going to plate that up. Just remember, use those leftovers. Use that stuff in the freezer. Make you a awesome, awesome soup. I will see you next time. Bye.